This week, I decided to challenge myself. To get up early and head to my local ponds in order to photograph it at sunrise. This is a location that I've been to many times over the years, but never thought to photograph before. I was hoping in doing this that I'd build a greater appreciation for the photographic opportunities that are available to me on my doorstep, while also challenging myself to see what sort of images I could create in the same location in varying weather conditions. And let's just say, over the 4 days, we had everything, from flat dull light to beautiful colours and very heavy rain. So let's see. How did I get on photographing my local pond 4 days in a row at sunrise? So here we were. Day 1 had arrived. The initial interest for me came from the ripples in the water and watching the ducks enjoy their early morning swim. By tuning into the world around me, I was able to get a sense of place and become aware of the possible photographic opportunities that would await me in the coming days. Following this, it didn't take long for me to find my first image.
Now, what I've found down here is really speaking to me.
At the edge of the pond was this log, partially submerged in water and with 2 beautiful autumnal leaves floating, as if by magic, beside it. This scene really spoke to me, and as I began to unpack my camera, I felt great pleasure in watching the light interact with the water's surface. I stayed here for a while and created a number of images, these 2 being my personal favourites. Well, I didn't do too much talking or photography on day 1, but one thing I was very keen to do before I headed home was photograph the ducks that had taken my interest when I first arrived on location. Little did I know at this point, these guys would play a very big part in some of the images that were to come later in the week.
Well, morning 1 has certainly been interesting. I not long ago had a lovely conversation with a lady that was out walking her dog, and she was saying the reflections are so beautiful and every time she comes out here they look different. And it's so true, you know, water and the sky, it's forever changing, and how that light and the clouds and the colour that's in the sky interacts with the water, it's forever changing. And also the texture of the water is forever changing as well. So I found morning 1 really eye-opening, coming to a location so close to my home that I just have never really thought to photograph before. It showed me that there is opportunities. And the image that I showed you of the branch and the leaf in the water with the lovely blue colour around it, I really, really loved that image. And the ducks this morning, the ducks have been such a source of inspiration. I'm sure they will be something I'll be connecting with more as the days progress. Anyway, I better head back home now because in an hour's time I am speaking with Courtney Victoria for the Photographic Connections podcast. But I'll be back tomorrow and I'm excited to see what opportunities await me then. In the past, if I'd woken up and looked out the window and the weather was like this, I just wouldn't have even bothered going out. But because I'd set myself this challenge this week to get up early and come out to my local pond, no matter what the weather, to see how the conditions change and just see if I can build a new relationship with this pond and find opportunities, it gave me the incentive to come out regardless. And even just being out, it feels good. I've no idea what opportunities are going to await me this morning. There's always opportunities though, you know, I say that all the time. So I think it'll be I think it'll be a bit more challenging to find things this morning potentially, but is that just my mindset? My mindset of believing this weather is more challenging? Most probably, because there's so many techniques, so many different subjects and things that we can connect with in all weather conditions. And the rain brings with it many opportunities that we wouldn't get in sunny weather. So with that in mind, let's see what I can find to photograph this morning.
I began by heading back to yesterday's log to see how it had changed overnight. Things looked very different on this day. The 2 leaves had gone and been replaced by many more, not offering quite as pleasing an image opportunity as yesterday had. The ducks were also keeping their distance today, and as the rain hammered down, I was a bit uncertain about what to photograph. While admiring the raindrops though, I began to become aware of the grasses swaying in the wind. This inspired me to try my hand at some creative photography, using the natural swaying motion to create these images here.
I know it's only day 2, but I think what I'm realising about this process of what I'm doing this week is how contemplative it is. You know, I guess I envisaged that I'd be coming out here and just coming to this pond and going for a walk and creating some images. But what it's actually doing is allowing me some time for self-reflection of not only reflecting on how this location is changing with the day and with the weather and the contrast or the differences between yesterday and today, but it's also making me more contemplative about myself and my own life and opening me up, I guess, to more discovery, more self-exploration, and really giving myself the permission to experiment, as I just did in that images that you just saw there. I really would like every day that I come out and do this to come home with one image. I don't have to be delighted with it, but I want to ensure that I get my camera out every single day and create an image, no matter what the weather. And what that allows me to do is to explore, to try new things, to experiment. And that's often where some of the most interesting images come from, but also where we can really explore ourselves more.
And this self-exploration is certainly a path well worth taking. And on this morning when I was looking around, I realised that I had a choice in my photography. A choice to look at the grey, dull, boring areas and decide that there was no opportunities, or to focus on the opportunities that were available and make use of the beautiful light that we had to find and create images. And that's exactly what I did with the next photographs here.
Oh gosh. The rain is dinging down now. Oh gosh. It's going to be a very miserable walk home.
Well, morning 3 had arrived. I'd woken up late and I'd very nearly missed it. But thankfully, I made it on location just in time. How incredible is this light?
Now, when you're heading out to do a spot of relaxing, mindful photography first thing in the morning, the last thing you want to do is to have to make a mad dash for location. However, that's exactly what happened for me this morning. Now, my whole intention with this week's challenge is, because this pond is only about a 15-minute walk from my house, was to get up early every morning, walk to location, leave the car at home and fully embrace just walking to what is pretty much on my doorstep. However, this morning I got up a little bit later than planned, and when I opened the curtains, the sky was on fire. So I threw on my clothes, jumped in the car and drove up here. But sometimes in life we've just got to make compromises and make use of what we can do in order to embrace these moments. But as I found, rushing up here and trying to create images when I got here, it wasn't the easiest of tasks.
Those images you've just seen turned out to be incredibly rushed, and while they turned out okay in the end, on location I wasn't so sure. I was so relieved when I got home to see that they turned out like that though. I mean, oh my gosh, what an incredible moment. And little did I know that was only the beginning of the excitement for this morning, as I then spotted two dippers flitting around in the pond.
Wow, that was amazing. Those dippers were not there the last 2 mornings. I knew we had dippers in the local stream here, but I didn't know they'd be in the pond as well. They were making so much noise, which is why I saw them. But now they've just flitted off down the pond somewhere else and well away from sight. But what an amazing thing to see.
While watching the dippers, I became aware of this beautiful overhanging branch and decided to create some images using it. And then, as if by magic, the dippers reappeared and put on an absolutely beautiful show.
Well, what a treat morning 3 has been. To start the day, despite the mad rush, just seeing that beautiful fiery sky and watching how that light interacted with the water, it was so, so beautiful. And then to end this morning by watching the dippers so close, it was incredible. You know, earlier in the year I put out the intention that I wanted to photograph a dipper this year. And I tried a couple of times up the river after going through quite a hike to try and find this spot that I knew they were at. Didn't get any images of them really. I got one of them really far away, but you could barely see them. But I put that intention out there that by the end of the year, or this year, I wanted to photograph a dipper. And you just come out, and one day, it's almost like the universe just delivers it to you. They may have been there the last few mornings, but I certainly didn't see them. But to see them this morning like that and be able to photograph them was such a beautiful experience. And to literally be at a location right on my doorstep that I can walk to makes it even more special. What a morning. Day 3 is complete. It's now time to get home, do a full day's work on the computer and see what day 4 has in store tomorrow. Well, after almost missing that gorgeous light yesterday morning, I ensured this morning that I got up bright and early. It doesn't look like we're going to be greeted with the same colour this morning, but one thing that's really struck me is how mild it is. It is so warm this morning. I find this time of year fascinating. One day it is bitterly cold, and the next day it's really mild. It's an interesting observation to make when you're getting up at the same time every day and heading out to the same location.
The first thing I noticed upon arriving on location on this morning was how the light interacted with the surface of the water. I didn't waste any time getting my camera out and went on to create some abstract images of the water. I was also struck by how the artificial light played with the water's surface too, and created this image here.
You know, I've noticed that the thing that keeps drawing me in time and time again this week is the water. Now that might seem like quite an obvious thing to say when I'm photographing a pond, but what I mean by that is the way the water moves, how it changes with the light, how the shadows, the colours and the texture of the surface of the water changes throughout each day, but also every time the wind gets up, every time the light changes and the sun rises and it gets brighter. It's forever changing. And I find it mesmerising, and so many photographs this week I have either visualised in my mind or gone on to create that revolves around this motion in the water. It is so beautiful, and I think it's a great way of connecting with the world, because while this pond is always here and the pond is always changing and evolving and over the seasons, one thing that changes so much, you know, almost every single second, is the surface texture of the water. So not only is it mesmerising to connect with and photograph, but it also gives you a completely new appreciation, I think, for nature photography and for the world around us. And today we've got 42-mile-an-hour winds forecast, and the wind actually just now is just getting up, and the surface of the water is completely changing as it's doing so.
Watching the surface of the water truly was mesmerising, and as I walked around and enjoyed the location further, I continued to admire it as it changed and flowed before me. As I got used to watching the water, I was able to detect some lulls in the surface. I crouched down by the side of the pond and went on to create these images here. And for the final images created during this 4-day challenge, it was time to reconnect with the ducks once more, this time photographing them amongst the most beautiful, shimmering liquid golds. Look at those clouds. I just looked up, and after photographing the ducks, and I was just seeing this beautiful curl and all these gorgeous lines. That is absolutely stunning. Wow, what an incredible experience this has been. To come out every morning at the same time, no matter what the weather, and just see what unfolds in front of you. For me, this has been such a beautiful way to not only start the day, but to get creative with my photography, to get some nature time, and to build an appreciation for a location that is literally on my doorstep. I appreciate I live in such a beautiful part of the world, but being able to come out and appreciate somewhere like this that I've never thought to photograph before, it's brought a whole new, deeper meaning and appreciation to me for my local area. This is just absolutely stunning. This week's really brought home to me the
benefits of setting ourselves a challenge creatively. Not anything to do with competition or anything to do with comparing ourselves to others, but a simple challenge, a challenge that gets us outside, that gets us creating, that gets us connecting with something. And I've really felt this spark within me this week, and I've given myself permission to simply create. I've experimented with different techniques, different lenses, different focal lengths, different shutter speeds, different subject matters. I photograph things that I might not normally choose to photograph, and really allowed myself to find something of beauty in every weather, mood and condition that was presented to me. It's helped me build a much deeper sense of gratitude for the beautiful world we live in and the beautiful place that I live in. And it's really allowed me to start my day on a high every day, coming out local, appreciating where I am and being creative in the process. It's been wonderful. I hope there's some inspiration you have gained from this video. Maybe you have somewhere within walking distance of your home that you go to regularly but have never thought to photograph or connect with on a deeper level. And the beauty of staying local is we have these things on our doorstep that are accessible to us. And photography and being creative is such a healing thing to do. And regardless of whether we're having a good day or a bad day, being able to go out with our camera can help us to really channel that emotion, to connect with so much beauty that's around us, and build a deeper sense of meaning and connection to the beautiful world that we live in. That's what photography gives me, and I'm sure there's many of you out there who feel something similar. So head out there and see what you can discover. There's a whole world out there just waiting to be discovered. It's so beautiful. And I'm just going to sit here now and just watch these gorgeous clouds above me. They're absolutely phenomenal, and they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger, these beautiful lines. Wow. We're expecting some high winds and very, very heavy rain in the next 24 hours. I'm feeling that change. And the sky is speaking to me right now. And it's so beautiful to be out here in the calm before the storm. As always, I want to say a huge thank you for watching, wishing you a very blessed and creative week, and I'll see you all again next Sunday.